Hello and welcome to the Perhaps Pod. This is your host.
And your guest.
And on today's episode, tell us, guest, what are we talking about?
Oh, okay. I see what you're doing there. I have no idea what we're talking about. Host, what would you like to talk about? Host,
Oh, you're
do you
too
have
kind.
anything in mind?
You're
Host.
too kind. Thank you. Yeah, I don't really know. Have we done the whole Apple Android conversation?
Oh my gosh, I don't think we have. Oh
I
my
have to
God,
say, I've betrayed.
those are strong words.
I've
You want to bring?
betrayed my
Oh my
squad.
God, I didn't sign up for this. Is this what is this what you brought me here for? Oh my gosh. Okay. No, seriously, go ahead.
I've betrayed my. I guess it's kind of. I just want to let everyone know I've betrayed.
A
I've
trade.
betrayed team. You know what? No one actually knows which team I've betrayed. It'd be interesting. We
Right?
need the polls. We need the
We
polls. I
need the
know I was talking about that in this last episode, but you need to get
uh
on that. Figure
polls
out how we can
yeah.
like embed some polls so people can vote.
Polls would be cool.
The polls
I
will be coming. Also, don't forget to vote. I think like state elections are coming up.
Oh wow. Look at you on top of it.
Well, I keep getting these emails.
What does that mean?
These emails that are like, "Don't forget to vote." I'm like,
Because
"Oh,
I don't get those emails.
you got to sign up."
Yeah, where did you sign up for state election
Yeah,
emails?
so it's not state election emails. Well, you can sign up for county emails, I think. But if you join like your county's like Democratic or Republican thingy, county Democrats or county Republicans, I think they tell you. I mean, like I'm signed up to one of those, and I'll
Mm.
keep my politicalness aside. But I'm
Oh,
signed up to one of those, and they always like email me. Honestly, like I was about to click unsubscribe because they send me so much stuff, like oh come to our gala or like do this and that. And I'm like, no, I forgot kind of why I signed up in the
come
first
to the
place.
gala. Who
Yeah,
are you?
yeah, you know,
What?
I get around.
At political galas?
Yeah, you gotta go to them. I've never been to one.
Flex.
I must say I've never been to one. I just get the emails. But
Oh
anyway,
my
this is how
God.
I know that voting is coming up.
What? I don't.
So just everybody double check because you should
You
vote.
invited to the political gala.
You might see me there. No, I'm just
Check your
kidding. I'm not
junk
going. I don't have
folder,
time.
please. You might have been invited to the gala, the gala of,
Oh,
of
so you really like apples, huh?
oh, do you?
No one.
I like Honeycrisp apples.
No one. I thought that was funny.
They're the champagne of apples, Honeycrisp.
You know, I didn't know there are different varieties of apples
You didn't?
or
Yesterday I
bananas.
forgot that
Apparently,
pickles
there's
were
different types of
cucumbers.
bananas. Supposedly, and I'm like 95% sure the type that we eat is the Cavendish banana.
The Cavendish banana.
Yeah, but apparently there's a lot more. I mean, I know the mini bananas or the small bananas, like the small sweet ones.
Mm,
Those are really good.
I don't.
Unless
I
if you
don't.
eat an unripe one, oh, never. It'll like dry your mouth out so
Not at
quickly.
drying your mouth.
You like take a
Bananas out here
bite and
drying your
then it's
mouth.
like eating a very tart thing. It just kind of
Oof.
like, yeah,
Tart.
yeah,
A tart banana? Wait
I
a
think
minute.
so. Maybe I
Where are
don't
you
know my
buying your
food
fruit?
words. Farmers market.
Okay, I can't put no shame on that because
I know, right? You're
farmers
about to
markets
come at me,
are lit.
but so hard. But that's right. I said farmers market.
Yeah,
In
that's the
fact, if you went to
same.
the political gala this past
Exactly. That's how
weekend, you
you
would
got
know.
invited to the
You would
political gala.
know.
They're like,
Yeah, it's just
oh,
at the farmers
oh,
market. They're like, "Oh, I see you getting
a
those
host
small
gonna
sweet bananas."
exactly
I was
look at
like,
you.
"Yes, sir."
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But yeah, we
Oh,
could
I was
go
like,
in some
where how did we get on
so many
this?
ways.
We're
Exactly.
talking about Apple versus Android and
Right.
whether or not anyone can figure out which team I've betrayed and if we can get some polls. So now I kind of want to do a different topic because I
Wow.
want to have the
Okay.
polls, But I feel
Wow.
like since we already started, we might as just well continue.
I mean, we could still do a poll. I don't know. You can figure that out. How to do a poll, where to do a poll,
I don't know how to do that.
and we'll see it. Well, I don't. Somebody tell us how we can do a poll. How about that? But also, you can look into it because you want to do the poll.
Yeah, I don't have time.
I can make it happen. Just you gotta tell me how. You know.
I don't know. I
That's how
don't.
this.
Why
That's
can't
how
you
the
look it up?
partnership works. That's
I feel
how
like
this
you should
partnership
look it up.
works. What are we even doing? Yeah. So like when it comes to the tech discussion about Apple versus Android, I've had both, right? And I feel like that matters. There should be a space for people who actually have experienced and used
Both.
both.
No, it's
Because
either one or the
whenever it's
other.
just brought up, it's
You're,
always like some petty discussion
oh
between
yeah.
people who haven't like really seen the other side or don't know what like they're talking about. Now that said, I'm
Mm.
not an expert, right? I'm not out here like MKVHD, right? Or like a full-on
What a
tech
great guy.
reviewer, right? Awesome videos, by the way. But like,
His full name's Marcus Bradley, right?
or Brownlee? I
Brownlee.
don't know. I have no idea. MK.
Anyway, I
V.
used to watch his videos all the time, and like now I never do.
Dang.
Or that other guy, is that Unbox Therapy?
Ooh, I feel like that's a thing.
Maybe
That's a thing.
that's him. I don't know. Go ahead.
Either way, my point is that I'm not on that level yet. Maybe I might decide to one day, when I'm sipping tea in the morning and be like, you know what, tech reviews. But either way, like regular use case, right? But even like that said, I feel like that's also important, right? To be a regular person being like, okay, this is what I like, yada yada yada.
A regular
Um,
person,
yes, a
as
regular
opposed to
person.
what?
As a person who's
An
like looking
irregular
at all the
person.
specs or has like use cases where like performance really matters.
The Apple gang, I've heard, is a really like walled off community.
What does that even mean?
It means like once you go Apple, you can't go back.
Once you go, I mean, I understand that. I say like most of my products are from Apple, right? Um,
Wow.
I like I like the UI because I like the UI, because I like the feel, because I like the synchronicity between my devices. That's the system that I went
I
for.
mean, have you
Right? I
tried?
feel like slowly, surely, maybe already, it's kind of like seen as the creative space. And now it's even touching into like a technical space as well, especially with like the new upgrades for gaming, right? The gaming culture has to catch up. Like, not for to say, go get a Mac right now for your gaming situation. Like, no, like they're kind
Yeah, I
of
don't
touching
know.
into
I
that
don't know
market,
what you're
but
doing if
like,
that is what you're telling people.
like, but
Best
like
gaming
it's touching
computers,
STEM.
MacBook
Like
Pro.
if you go to top tech companies that you can think of, right, what they're dishing out to their developers, I can imagine would be an Apple product, right? So because of that, I enjoy it, right? But I also know what it's like to use the other cases, right? Um, if you like
Mm.
flexibility, if you like something that's automatically included, right? Especially like if we're talking about a couple of years ago, 5, 10 years ago, right? That probably in certain spaces, especially like in development like spaces like STEM, I'm out here trying to design the chips, then you'd probably want a system outside of Apple, right? I feel like now things are converging a little bit. So really it's coming down to performance. If you're a person who really needs like top like dollar performance, flexibility in terms of what are the things you're actually using, or if you're not one of those people, if you're just like, hey, I just need a device, then you need to think about what experience you want to have, right? And this is obviously without thinking about money, right? Because the finances is a whole nother situation,
Yeah, do you want to spend like
versus
ten thousand
what's
dollars
the
to get an iPhone,
exactly like what is
or do you want to
the
spend
best
two
device for
hundred
you
to
versus
get a nice
what's the
Android?
device you can afford. That those are like two different conversations, like, so yeah, that's my take on that. Mm. What say you?
I mean, it really
Regular
sounds
person.
like. Excuse me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was just reading this article the other day. Apparently, I think it's Samsung. it might just be Android and Google in general, have figured out a way to like now you can cross back over from Apple to Android.
Yeah, was that not a thing?
It wasn't as like there's basically no support for
Oh,
it. There was
well, I
only support to
know.
go from Android to Apple. But now
Yeah.
apparently like they've kind of worked on something so you can migrate your stuff from Apple onto Android products a lot more easier.
Mm. Well, I'm glad they caught up
Maybe
with
there'll
that.
be a huge revolution and everyone will go back to Android.
Mm.
Apple's really
I
trying to
can see that
take it.
revolution happening or a third person popping up, because I've had the thoughts myself.
Of
Um,
creating your own phone software.
if, yeah, if it's just software, that's interesting. That would be cool if that could
Oh, that
like,
you can just oh, that would be really like you put the software
yeah,
package
yeah,
on like
yeah,
iPhone or like an
yeah.
Android and it's perfectly integrated. That'd be
Is
so cool.
future
You
thoughts.
should do it.
Or or like
Crowdfunding.
just a completely third brand. Um, but I
The
would
guest
I
phone.
would predict that if there would be a revolution for like something that's not Apple, it'll be because of Apple's prices.
Yeah.
If they keep going in
Or
the
people will
direction
keep just
of
stomaching it.
expensive versus expensive, like they'll always have their customers. Like their customers like aren't leaving them, right? But if we're talking about revolutionary, if we're talking about people fed up, or if we're talking about new beginners, if we're talking about like oldies then becoming newbies, but someone else's newbies, um, like it's probably going to be because of their prices, right? Or how their financial setup is affecting what products they upgrade, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you like currently look at the market, the question is like, okay, get a why get a pro, right? When there might be some minimal differences between an iPad Pro and an iPad Air.
Oh, I thought you were talking about MacBooks, but okay.
I mean, but
Well, the
like
Air
basically
just
like
came out,
that.
right?
Like yeah,
It's
it
like
just
the
came out, and
same.
I
It's
think
like $200, $300 discounted from a Pro, and it's basically the same size. But it only has one camera. Not that
right,
I've looked
like
into
it.
it.
So
Not that I've looked
so
into it. I'm just
right,
saying what I've
like
seen from the commercials,
this is
people.
this is straight off the top of my head, so I might be talking about a completely different iPad, right? But because I might not necessarily know, or that there's so many different iPad versions, right? Like that could get a little bit hectic, right? So then you don't clearly see what the lines are between each product. Like I feel like that's where they could be losing people, especially if they're doing that on top of already expensive prices.
Mm-hmm.
So if the big thing is the M1 chip, but it's in last year's Pro, and then it's in now's Air,
Yeah, it's
and then
in the
I'm like,
Air.
okay, what are the real differences as like a normal use case where I'm probably not maxing out everything? Like, what is that? Why would I want a Pro?
But
And then it just feels like a money game between the differences and the screen size, right? And am I feeling like I'm missing out if I don't have the extra two cameras? Like,
yeah, you might.
if
Everyone will
those
know you have an
questions
Air.
keep coming up for the user base, right, then I can see a revolution to be like, I'm done. Especially if things remain
But I don't
expensive.
know. When you go to like Best Buy or like a computer store, like what are you actually asking the people?
Right. Oh
Do you
yeah.
just tell them like this is what I needed to do? Because I've kind of done that. I was shopping around for a new laptop because mine was kind of slowly dying.
Mm-hmm.
It was okay. It had some issues. Um and dang, I want to say what it is, but if I say what it is, then Anyway, so I was shopping around, and it's like always when I go to like things like whether it's like Best Buy, what are some other like electronic stores? I guess I've never asked an employee at Walmart about the
Like deep
laptops.
questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though I
So
think there's a person who's like just supposed to be
to
there
be there.
to
Yeah.
ask those questions.
Yeah, there is. And then comes the question of like whether or not they're actually equipped to do that or whatever. My thing is, and maybe this is just because I am coming from a tech background and I've seen some things that's like not okay. Um, you gotta know what you're buying.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta watch a YouTube video about differences between devices or use cases and what you need, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then go do that, because there are way too many people buying like trash devices.
Or just
I
top of the
remember
line. Top of the line too, when all you need to do is like watch YouTube videos on it. I mean,
exactly,
it's cool to have
right?
the, if you have the budget, to get the best
Then
thing, and
go for
then
it,
yeah,
right? But if you don't, then
yeah.
like don't get swindled into like getting something that you don't need if you were just trying to get the bare minimum of what you need.
I think
Then
that was
also don't go in blind and just be like, ooh, it's red. And then you have
yeah.
a laptop that has 2 gigs of RAM for
Unless
the
you really
technical.
like red.
Like, no,
Wait, are there
no,
any third
no,
party people
absolutely
who will
not.
like spray paint your laptop for you?
Probably
Is that a thing? Or
spray
like
paint,
or like like do
like
like
skins and
exterior, yeah,
yeah. Oh, definitely for skins.
but like for any
There's a
laptop?
couple of
And
people
can you
for
like
like
change out your
skins.
keys? That's what we need to get into. Laptop customization. We can do keyboards, and
Customizable.
we can change the what's it called? Trackpad, touchpad on it too.
Mm-mm. Like a
Maybe
plug and play, like a
upgrade the
Lego
speakers in it,
laptop.
if
Yeah.
you really want premium sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really put it together. Right. And then make it like colorful and approachable and like how to's that aren't just hidden somewhere
Yeah.
where you can't like find it. Like, do you like make that a part of the user experience, putting it together?
Yeah.
Right. Have a little bit of education, don't make it overwhelming.
Yeah.
That would be cool. Right. That's how like the third thing pops up, you know? Um, but yeah, to the technical people in the back who laughed at me saying 2 gigs of RAM, they're still out there. They're still out there. The people who like also shuddered when
Actually,
host was
yeah,
like, Corey,
Chromebooks, you
pick
can
it because red. No, 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 no.
no,
No, no.
you can
I'm
still
with
buy
you.
a Chromebook out there with like I think cuz I was looking for laptops. So I think it was like 4 gigs of RAM and it was
Oh
like 200
no.
$300. I
No,
was like, "Wow, look at that. Like
no,
that's a great price."
no,
And then I
no.
remembered back to like my oldest laptop, which is like completely broken. Um which interestingly enough, it had 16 gigs of RAM, but it kind of
Oh my
just broke
god.
down. So
I
I
mean, there's different reasons for things breaking down. I said 2 gigs of RAM because a memory popped up into my head. I remember being at uni and I was over like a friend's place, right? And they were like, "Oh my gosh, my stuff is like so slow. Like I don't know what's doing, and like I barely use it for anything. I just watch like YouTube and then like have a couple programs open and I
saw the
like write
viruses,
papers." And
ad
then I was
blocker.
like, "What are your settings? What is your RAM?" And when I tell you, it popped up as 2 gigs of RAM. I'm like, "Oh my god, how is this
How is it
possible?
on?
How is it right? What's
How can you even
going
turn this thing on
exact? This just how does it not say you can only bring in one tab? like,
at a
like
time?
I said, this is why. She was like, what? I was like, yo, okay. So people who are like, what in the world is RAM? So RAM is your device's ability to do things at multiple times. That's
It,
a very simplified version of it.
it
When I
stands
say
for
hands,
random access memory.
right. So let's say for typical things, right? Let's say mine has 16. Mine has 16 hands, right? And that's like pretty standard. Or like you can even go down to eight being
Yeah, I'd
standard.
say
Eight hands,
between 8 and 16 is standard.
eight
You
hands.
don't see
You'd
many
have,
12s out there though.
and that's for someone who has all the tabs open, has iMovie running in the back, right? Or whatever application for whatever is on a Zoom call, like all the things are open, right? 8 gigs. And this person had 2 gigs. It was problematic. Don't buy something with 2 gigs of RAM. Don't do it for the sake of everything
Yeah,
computer
don't be wooed in by
and
the
standard in this
prices.
world. Don't be wooed in by the red laptop. Don't do it.
Okay,
That's
here's
why I say you got to know what you're getting,
so
because
what
otherwise you will be sold on the crap devices because they will see that you don't know.
mm,
Like so then
yeah.
and not even coming from like an evil place, right? Just be like, oh, this person probably doesn't use it for anything, and maybe that person doesn't really know the like what it means to only have 2 gigs of RAM, and then somehow you've gotten 2 gigs of RAM.
So get him the laptop and the 3-year protection plan. That's worth the same amount of money as
The
the
3 year
laptop.
protection, not the 3 year protection. Oh my gosh.
You know, that's what I had for my current laptop that I'm getting rid of, and it's great that I got it. And here's why. The battery went bad on it.
Uh-huh.
And I was talking to the people online, and I won't say the company, but it was just
I
such a
remember
hassle. I
this.
spent 2 hours on the phone being like, "This battery is dead," and they were
Oh
like,
my
"Yeah, I
gosh.
don't think so." And then we had to do all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Got to the end, and then they're like, "Okay, check this," and I was like, "Yeah, it says battery failure." And at the very end, like 2 hours, they're like, "Okay, we'll send you a thing. We'll send you
Wow.
a box to get it replaced." So now it's replaced. I'm thinking of selling it actually.
Oh, look
I
at that.
don't want it anymore. I'm so irritated. I'm
Boy.
so irritated. Um, yeah. So what's your opinion then between like should I get a laptop or should I get a tablet?
Ooh,
Cuz
that one.
I've looked at tablets and I've looked at like the Windows thing and Apple.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't feel right. Like to me it just doesn't feel right. Right? The
So
main
what?
programs I use
Going
now are
going
just like
by
the Microsoft
a,
Office suite.
a tablet?
Yeah, I'm just like typing on Word on a tablet is just everything's so small.
So like if you're a big screen person, right? Like bigger than 13 inches, right? Which is like the biggest one that I know about, slash the biggest one that's like basically an Apple, right? Then sure, I guess go for like a laptop, right? Because you're gonna want a bigger screen. If that's not an issue for you, right? And you kind of like the mobility of an iPad, then you already like you just set out, you just established a line for you already. But let's say you're talking about like performance, you're talking about like use cases, right? I've been in a situation way back when, like when I had the clunkiest non Apple computer, right? And it basically just shut down, probably blue screen of death,
Gaming
basically.
PC.
And then, hello, no. And then all I had was a second generation iPad. So we're talking like it has a button on the
Oh yeah.
screen,
You
right?
know they actually
I
still sell.
They
I
do
think they
second
sell the
generation.
is that the second generation?
Like I'm talking about like this was when iPad was starting to get fancy,
No, I
second
mean they still
generation.
sell like currently an iPad with a button on it.
Really, they do.
Yeah,
But is it second
it's
though?
like
I don't think it's second though.
I don't whatever the last one to have a button on it was, I think that's it.
Wow, look at that. Look at that relic.
Yeah.
Buy it, save it. Say that you were
Get
alive
a Kindle
during the
instead
time. But either way,
or Microsoft
so
tablet.
my laptop went down and then I had to use my tablet and I was like in high school, right? And like doing a lot of work basically.
All the work.
And I survived with it. So for a person who's, putting videos together and likes the mobile kind of application, right? Um, Music subtly, easily being put together, watches videos, types up stuff, makes all the calls. It's very, very useful for that. If you want mastery, right? Like this is what I think about as a laptop. If you're thinking about like a home base, if you're thinking about full on file, traditional file structure, even though you can save things like on an iPad, especially if you're talking about like iCloud and like files and things of that nature. But if you want that experience and if you want programs that go a little bit more further, right? Because, take GarageBand, for instance, right? The experience on mobile is completely different than the experience on Mac, right? On
Yeah.
mobile, like on like iPad or iOS, right? I would say it's much more like a playground. So you can quickly get into it and you can create a masterpiece there, right? But if you want to get into all the settings, the inner workings, the blah 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 of it, like that goes a little bit deeper than like timing your taps and like a jam session, but like getting into the editing space of it, then I'd say go for the laptop. So
Yeah.
I would say those are those differences between like a tablet experience, and this is beyond Apple as well, a tablet experience versus a laptop experience for me
Yeah.
personally. That's what
Yeah.
it is. Yeah.
So I think at the end of the day, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna let you guys know in the next episode
Mm,
what I switched to.
sure.
Yeah. I will
Yeah.
say though, I don't know if this will help anybody figure out whether I'm like Apple or Android. But I do like Spotify over Apple Music.
Interesting.
I just think it's better.
Interesting. Why is that?
I don't know. I guess I haven't used like Apple Music as much. So it's still, I guess it's not really foreign to me, but it's just different,
Mm.
you know? Like
So
I have had Spotify since 2014.
since forever,
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm one of those OG Pandora users,
Oh.
right?
All right, well, that's
I
all the time we
haven't.
have for today.
Hello.
Clearly one of us is still in the past.
No, so like it's interesting,
Do you still have
like
Pandora?
barely, not as a main one, not as a
Do
main
you
one. No,
listen
no.
to it
Pandora, no, not as a main one, right? But I was saying like I
out
was an
here?
OG like Pandora user, so like when Spotify came out, right? Like or when it was starting to get popular, what I liked about the Pandora experience, which was probably also available on Spotify, but wasn't like kind of their main branding statement, was the thought of just clicking play.
Hmm.
Like I like that radio experience. I
You
don't know
know,
what's coming next. I don't need to know what's coming next. I kind of want to just play and go. And
that's
that's why I dig Pandora.
yeah, that's what I was.
Now, because of modern statements, it's like it's probably there. But go ahead.
Oh no, I just wanted to say like that's the one thing I will give to Pandora. I haven't listened to them in forever, but I think they
Yeah.
do have one of their best radio. I guess what is it? Radio algorithms.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Mm-hmm.
have one of the best. Like I always, well, I haven't listened to Pandora in years, but yeah, no, they have good radios. Over, I think with Spotify, you get really the same song. They don't really branch off enough from the initial artist or the initial song that you select. And
Mm-hmm.
Apple Music, I think, does a slightly better job, but definitely between the three, Pandora is definitely gets the gold.
I really enjoy SoundCloud. So shout out to everyone who's like messing it up with SoundCloud and jamming.
I don't know. There's too much music that I don't want to listen to.
Really?
I think when Hoodie Allen's first
uh
album came up, I
uh
think that's when I was still on SoundCloud, and then shortly after that, I stopped.
Nah, I
Because then
find
don't you have to pay
bangers
for
on
SoundCloud now
SoundCloud.
too?
No, you don't.
Oh,
You don't. It does have ads, but the ads aren't super frequent, right?
mm-hmm,
At all. Like they're not as annoying as Pandora's,
mm-hmm.
right? So I really enjoy SoundCloud. I like the creativity that SoundCloud because I feel like official music is where you go to Pandora, Spotify, and Apple Music and all
Yeah.
that jazz, right? Versus SoundCloud, it's kind of like getting into those DJ vibes. You wanna
Well,
tap into who I really am,
yeah, SoundCloud
music
is
wise. You go look at my like liked SoundCloud like
mm,
collection.
all these artists
Like
no one
that's
knows. Yeah, I mean SoundCloud is like the underground
it's really
version
good.
of music streaming,
I have to
kind of.
support it. It's really good.
Yeah.
Bangers.
So I guess at the end of the day, whether you're trying to buy a laptop or a phone or a computer or trying to decide which music streaming service is the best, go Spotify. Um,
SoundCloud.
you got to do your research. You got to do your
Oh
research.
yeah, if you're buying a device, do your research. Watch a YouTube video, read an article,
I'd say
find that techie best friend, ask them what you need to ask at the store.
watch
Okay?
multiple videos.
Because that will help you and whoever is helping you at the store get the device. Advise you better.
Get all the RAM. Get all the
Don't buy
RAM.
it because it's pink. Buy it because it's great and then get it in pink. Okay? Thank you. Thank you. It's my contribution to the world.
This has been an official PSA from the Perhaps podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please.
But just do your research. I feel like that in any aspect of your life, doing the research will help you somehow.
Response time, RAM, GPU, refresh rate,
CPU,
color gamut,
Bluetooth chip.
Come on now.
NFC compatibility / capability.
AMD or NVIDIA
Oh
or
yeah.
M1.
Intel,
Come on now. Storage.
SSD, HDD.
SSD is
Is it
becoming a standard now.
HDD, right?
Yes,
Hard disk
HDD.
drive.
Yeah.
All the acronyms.
All
You
the
know, maybe
things.
maybe we should have like, I feel like we kind of know what we're talking about when we talk about tech. Maybe we should have a couple episodes where we just kind of,
Break it down.
yeah, do the fundamentals of
Of
laptops and
tech.
computers and like other tech stuff.
Oh wow. Who are we? I guess we can have that episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, we gotta give our listeners the right
Some
tech so
details.
they can listen to the Perhaps pod as it's meant to be heard.
Perhaps we should buy devices we actually want to get. Yes.
I like it.
I like it too.
And don't buy a device just because you're trying to be hospitable.
Yeah, don't eat the chips.
Is what we've learned.
Don't eat the chips. There you go.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Perhaps Pod. Stay tuned for what's happening next week. I will let you know which devices I had and which devices I've switched to. All right, y'all. This is your host.
And your guest.
And we'll
Bye.
see you bright and early next week.
Bye.
Bye.